He created for you, but it's all about one thing: this free will that He's given us. That's the biggest thing. It's free will. He wants people eventually to come back and spend eternity with Him, that He's created for one reason: free will. Free will gives us the choice for one reason: to eventually go and spend eternity. If you were God, if I was God, would I create robots to just love me? No. The only way you can create something that um, will eventually love you for you is faith, believing in something you can't see or prove, but you can definitely feel it. I can prove God in my own head and try to express Him to someone, but that's the Holy Spirit's job. It is to intercede and get Him that full conviction. There's nothing like conviction. Conviction of our faith is proof of our faith, but you can't sell conviction at the gas station. You can't sell conviction anywhere. So I ended up getting moving back to Stewart and working my way up in Stewart Applebee's in 2008, and I think by 2009, I had met a girl named Steph, and we were dating and whatnot, and I think 4 months later, she got pregnant. So that was not the road I really wanted to go on, changing my life and whatnot, but I tell you what, I got a 2-year-old right now. His name is Caleb Anthony Gabeka, and he's the biggest joy of my life. I mean, besides my salvation, he's just amazing. I tried to make me and Steph work at the time, and I got in 2010, January 2010, I got us an apartment. Still live in this apartment. Got us an apartment, and was working real hard, and then I eventually went to a different country club besides Applebee's, and real good, no meds. I ended up going off the meds, weaning it slowly off after 2 years in 2008, and I was good, and I didn't need them anymore. Still haven't been on any type of meds, I think, since 2008, and it's 2013, so a good 5 years and whatnot. And now I'm in January 2010 is where the story is now. We try to make, me and Steph try to make us work as much as we can, and there's no ill will towards Steph or whatnot, but I think I was semi-delusional at the time. I was only 20, Caleb's 2, so 27, 26, 25, 24 and a half or whatnot, maybe 25, and I was trying to force something only because we had a kid, and by growing up in my parents' divorce, I kind of realized that you can't force something just because you're having a child, you know what I mean? You still got to be there for the child 100% responsibility-wise, and nurturing and time and love and care and affection, but you can't force something with the mother if there's nothing there. It was very wrong. It was wrong to me to have sex before marriage, and especially without protection and whatnot. But I was definitely going to own up to my responsibilities as a child. We were actually broken up at the time when she actually told me she was pregnant, and I took her to the emergency room, got her on prenatals, and said I'm going to try to make us work and this and that, and I was trying to force that, but that wasn't smart at the time, and we tried to make it. I mean, eventually it didn't work. We had Caleb. We tried again. And then it just got too much where we were angry at each other and arguing. So her parents really want to help. Her parents were financially set, and they still are now. And I had Steph. I'm like, this is not going to work out. I need you. You got to take full advantage of what your parents are offering you. They're asking you to move back at their house, and they'll help you with Caleb. You won't have any bills, and they'll help me with Caleb too, because I mean that's my responsibility as well. But he needs a good structure right now and whatnot, and this way you don't have any bills. You can go to school and finish school and this way Caleb can be really, proud of his mom and whatnot. This way it's not, we're not eking through life trying to raise an amazing kid and forcing a relationship with each other when we know it's not Caleb's best interest for us to just keep arguing, and adding on each other. So she went 2000 or August, I think Caleb wasn't even a month. He was born July 30th, 2011. It was August 15th when she moved back with him, and then we tried to force it again. I think at the end of August, Caleb was a year and a half old. No, he was only 4 months old, and she was trying to force a relationship with me and her, and she used our son as a crutch. And there were 3 different times where I didn't know where Caleb was for a 4-day period. Texting, calling, and I just couldn't handle it anymore. So eventually, I had to go to court, and I put myself on child support intentionally and to get any type of rights as his father. And now we're at July 21st, and I had been working at Yacht and Country Club. Not Yacht and Country Club, 2 different country clubs in Stewart. And just recently I was um, fired slash forced to resign. And I'm kind of at the point where me and Steph and her parents didn't like me at the beginning, but now I've allowed Caleb to change my life for the better and get a better job and education. I was a food and beverage manager at this country club and um, server, bartender, and I was still working at Applebee's, and then I went to this country club full time, and now I'm at a point where I think God has actually just said, you know what, time. I said, and I just came from the beach less than an hour ago, and I've always wanted to do this. This is my testimony. This is my testimony. The beginning, the middle, and the end, or the beginning, my life before I became a Christian, during, and how He's changed my life, and He's beyond changed my life. But we can always get stagnant. You still always need a refreshing of your mind. We need food physically. We need sleep physically. We need and mentally sleep. But we need God spiritually, daily, secondly, minutely. We need Him always. We need a renewing of the mind. And it kind of hit me that I'm working 60 plus hours this past. Oh, and just a side note. Um, we have gone along a lot better with me and Steph's parents and Steph. They work around my schedule here and there so that I can see Caleb, and it's really nice. And well, I don't really have a schedule anymore, but I've been kind of stagnant the past few months, but not in a funk or a depression, but I know I know my life has changed fantastically for the better and whatnot. But now I'm at a point where I can realize something, that my mind is your mind. No, anyone's mind is your own worst enemy. I tell you what, it's just there's a savings app that I downloaded and whatnot, and it helps you with how you spend your money and where you put it and whatnot. But after a while, it becomes where your mind can be affected by everything you're putting in there, whether you're spending money or not. Like God says, you can't have two masters. You cannot serve both God and money. Why would He use those two examples? Because the world says money will what? Make you happy. Millions of dollars will make you happy. But what doesn't make sense about that is what? There are multi-billionaires. There are multi-millionaires. There's 100,000-aires, whatever. There's a lot of people that are rich, but they are miserable. Why? Why is someone that came from money more miserable than someone that inherited money at 20 or 25? Maybe because the gratitude of actually working for money or working for work, period. It's a complete. Paris Hilton probably did have an actual panic attack. This girl was born into money. Every single day of her entire life, she's always had what she's wanted at her beck and call. Brand new everything, brand new this, brand new that. There's only a point where this illusion of money or doing all these things, sex, drugs, violence, any type of void out there, where eventually there's going to be a time where you think in your head you've done it all, and then what? Then you're just not happy. So I mean, it really doesn't make any sense anymore. So I think I'm at a point now where God has really taught me something at the beach there. He's taught me it does not matter how much money. There were times this past season where my check was really good, but it doesn't matter. Nothing matters, especially money. Our time here on earth is for one reason: time. We have time here. The void of God that He creates in us. Everyone has this void. Everyone tries to fill it with different things. Addictions. Anything can be an addiction, and you try to fulfill your addiction with this void that God created us for. But why did God create us with a void? Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Let me say that to Isaiah. Before I formed you in the womb. So before the womb, were we? Were we in heaven? Or were we in His head? Were we something? Were we anything? It doesn't matter what we were, but before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. God has a plan for every single human being He's ever created, every soul. There is one, I think a few million chances of life in one single sperm cell, like a drop of sperm. A million chances of life. And you were the fastest. I was the fastest. There was a reason. It doesn't matter what occupation or what job you have. There is an absolute reason for everyone down here. But the ultimate reason is love. His sacrifice on that cross. God, let's say God. People don't realize this. Here's the context of life in a glimpse. All right. So let's say you have the entire solar system right here. Planets, moons, everything is right here, okay? It's all in here. We don't know what's out here. But in here you have the sun, the moon, and days and time, right? Sun, solar system. Without the sun and the moon, no one ages on Earth. There is no time. So the problem, grasp this. What is beyond this? What is beyond space? There was a beginning. It doesn't matter if it was the Big Bang or not. I don't really necessarily believe in evolution with cross species, maybe within species themselves or whatnot, but not like dolphin to a man kind of thing, or ape to a man. And what I'm trying to say is that with this, outside, you have time. You have no time. You have nothing. This, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So the heavens were created first. The point of everything down here while we're down here. What is the point? To create a beginning for us, even though we really had a beginning before. Kind of hard to grasp. What is the point of all of it? Why create man? And then man falls short. Adam sins. So we need a redeemer, a final sacrifice, Christ, which is God. God created himself. Think of it as a mathematical problem. The only way to forgive his creation for what they did, which was sin, was to create himself into his own creation's form. And then sacrifice it. 100% innocence sacrificed. Sacrificed on the cross. Christ was sacrificed on that cross for us, for you and for me. It's mind-boggling. It's so mind-boggling because the things that I've always thought are completely wrong, the things that I've always, I have thought about doing this testimony for the past, I'm 27 in October. I've thought about doing this for the past 15 plus years, like actually writing an actual long, and it's actually only taking me 55 minutes. I'm beyond surprised, to be honest with you. Packed a lot of it, and I had a really huge epiphany when I was at the beach today. We all go through different things. I don't have a job. I have no job. It's a long story what happened, but it doesn't even matter because I think it's God actually showing me my real path. My real path is to try to help and show people the reason why we're here. Why do bad things happen? God doesn't do bad things. Can he intervene? Of course he can intervene. But why intervene if this negative thing that's happened to you, whether it's free will? Why do good things happen to bad people? Or no, why do bad things happen to good people? And good things happen to bad people? Well, let's first stop and say why? Why do we question everything? And why, when something really horrible happens, is it God's fault? You don't realize this, is that it's free will. My cousin passed away a little less than over a year ago. Could God have intervened? 100%. Could he have prevented it? Sure. It was Raymond, my cousin's free will to get on his motorcycle. It wasn't his fault that he passed away. He chose. It wasn't his fault whatsoever. He had two options to do. He could either gun the engine and try to pass the truck that cut in front of him, or lay the bike down, and then hope he survived. He chose